Welcome to another episode of Plastic Surgery Uncensored. On this episode, we're going to talk about destination plastic surgery, when it's safe and when it's not safe to go far, far away to get beautiful. Welcome to another episode of Plastic Surgery Uncensored. Today we're talking about destination plastic surgery with, right here in Beverly Hills, board-certified plastic surgeon, Dr. Roddy Raban.
Well, you and I are Roddy, but...
Yeah, when it's just us. But we also have a guest.
Yes, we do.
Natalia, who came from far, far away. Very far, Natalia.
Chicago.
Yeah.
So Natalia is one of my favorite patients.
Oh, thank you.
She's lovely. And I think what we wanted to do today, and I've had this question asked for me all the time, and it's a really hot topic, which is this whole concept of destination plastic surgery, destination surgery, right?
Right.
So we hear about it usually in the negative connotation, which is, I'm going to go Costa Rica, for example, is a really popular destination. And what that happens is for people, they figure they're just going to package it all together, right? I'm going to go to Costa Rica. I'm going to have affordable or cheap plastic surgery. I'm going to recover for 2 weeks. And while I'm there, it's a spa and my family can, have a vacation. And while that sounds like too good to be true, it's really too good to be true. And so often people have catastrophic things that happen to them. They've gone far away. It's not safe, etc. On the flip side, we have instances where going away to have surgery is a great idea. And there's people who live throughout the country and throughout the globe who live in places where access to really outstanding surgeons is quite limited. Mm-hmm. And then they would either have to have surgery done locally and perhaps have a less than ideal outcome, mm-hmm. or they can venture off to places where they feel the quality of work would be better. And Natalia is a perfect example. Not that she lives in a place where there's no surgeons. She lives in Chicago, but she did her homework and felt that for her, the best outcome would be somewhere else. So what we want to talk about today a little bit is, when do you know it's safe? When do you know it's not? And for a lot of people, we've had people write in all the time. It's like, let's say I want to come to LA or Beverly Hills, but I don't know what that entails. It seems out of my budget, out of my way of life. And so I really want you to, because this is your second time here, right?
Yes.
Right.
And
so
surgery.
I think
It's her second time.
Second surgery.
Yeah. And
With Dr. Raban.
Yep.
And I think no one better than you can attest, because you have a husband, children, family, and all the things that kind of make it a little bit challenging to decide to go away. So that's really the purpose of today's talk. And I guess we can dive in right away. You're what now? Six days?
6 days.
Yeah,
Yes.
6 days out of her most recent surgery, which was a rhinoplasty or nose, nasal surgery. And for those of you that are watching can see that, you're fresh out of surgery. You look beautiful. So let's just dive in, and why don't you tell us what...
I got questions.
Yes.
Okay. First of all, you're being very modest, you're in Chicago. It's the third largest city in the country.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when you say you did your homework, what kind of homework led you to Dr. Raban?
I did a lot of research, and I saw the pictures, the before and after, and I just loved his amazing job. And
was there anything other than the photos? I think this is a great question you're asking. Is so first question someone's going to ask is, okay, well, how do I know that I need to leave my local area? So in you, it was Chicago, as you said, is a big city, but let's say you're in Idaho. Not that there's anything wrong with Idaho or Fargo, Mississippi. Let's just say you're in some place that doesn't have a lot of plastic surgeons. So what were the things that you looked at that started to tell you, I need to start looking outside of my area? What were they?
I think because California in general has that fame of plastic surgery here, and I guess I started here because of that. And then I started seeing, I Googled and I saw your name and I started researching, and I liked what I saw. And I think that's the part where, I trusted you. And
was there anything in specific other than let's say the before and after photos that you saw? Was there something that you saw online that sort of made you feel more safe? Because, you're leaving your local area. So it's for a lot of people, it's frightening.
I think I took a risk. I think I wanted to take a risk because I don't know. I just thought that
vibe.
Here, I just felt something that I should have done here because of the fame of here, and a lot of people do plastic surgeries here, and I found you, and I think that after I did my first tummy tuck with you, I trusted you 100% to do my nose. So
let's back up to the first surgery, because the second one is a little bit easier because you've already connected to someone.
Can I say something as a Latina from Miami? You're Brazilian.
Yes.
You guys are known for plastic
Yes.
surgery. So you're not like an amateur. Like
No,
you
no,
know
no,
how to
no.
look stuff up, and
Yes.
because there is something cultural when she says because of it being here,
Yeah.
there is a culture of you guys are all about the Brazilian butt lift, the body,
Yeah.
so of all of all the gin joints, you when you were doing a tummy tuck, which is a body thing,
Yes.
traveled from the third largest city because you keep saying the fame, and I understand what you're saying in translation, the understanding that the California culture
Exactly.
is conducive to the next level of result.
Exactly. Yeah.
So in your instance, let's back up and let's just give the story. So you're a mom of how many kids you have?
I have two,
Two beautiful children,
3 and a 2-year-old.
3-year and 2-year-old, which
Yeah.
is a handful.
Yes.
And we first met two years
2
ago.
years ago.
2 years ago,
Yeah.
and you came from Chicago to have an abdominoplasty or tummy tuck, and you're, for those that can't see, you're a super fit individual. So working out was never an issue for you, right?
Yes.
I mean, you're into fitness, as is your husband, as is your family,
Yes.
and so despite all that, you just had the extra skin and all the things that we've talked about in other podcasts, which is extra skin and
the belly button.
belly button
Yeah.
was ruined, and you had some
Stuff you couldn't get to
Yeah,
with fitness.
yeah, it was just
and then you
there.
had some
Yeah.
diastasis we've spoken about hundreds of times, which is muscle separation. So we did your surgery, and I think what you're referring to, so I want to help the listener figure out how to hone in. So if you're going to go somewhere, you want to move upwards in terms of skill set. So if you go from Chicago, quite a very metropolitan city, you're not going to go to Costa Rica, because in Costa Rica, you're not necessarily going to a place where they do more of it and do it at a higher level. You want to go somewhere, let's say California, where based on the per capita of well-trained surgeons, you're going somewhere where theoretically you're going up a notch in skill. So first thing you got to know when you're deciding destination is, am I going somewhere where the people who are doing the surgery do it better, right? Like this is their forte. So abdominoplasty, I mean, again, we do a ton of it. They do it in Chicago, but you didn't go to, I don't know, some little town, Pueblecito in Mexico.
No.
Yes, and I didn't want to go to Brazil either because it was too far away. And taking my kids, taking my family, it's too much. So I decided to come here because it was closer too.
So that's the second question.
Yeah,
So one thing is you want to go somewhere where the skill is going to be better. So if you're going online and you're looking locally and you're like, I don't really like the results of the people who are located locally, then I wouldn't settle. Now you want to go haircut, you don't like the haircut, it's not the end of the world, but you want to have a major surgery and you find that within a 50-mile radius, by the nature of where you live in this country or in the world, there aren't really good surgeons. 100%, in my opinion, you should get up and go somewhere where they're better. So the second thing is you want to go somewhere where you're safe. So you said you didn't go to Brazil, but you stayed within the United States. So we get a lot of people coming into the U.S. to have surgery from London, Dubai, Australia, all very reasonable places. Why? Because our medical care system is a higher caliber system. There's accountability. So the second thing that I think was really interesting is that you could have gone to Brazil, right? You have family. You're from Brazil.
Yes.
But I don't know that the safety protocol in Brazil is the same as in the US. What does that mean? Let's say something goes wrong. What are you going to do? I mean, do you think there's as much accountability in these other countries? What if you had a major complication? At least in the United States, patients have recourse. There's licensure, California Medical Board. I mean, for God's sakes, there's Yelp. There's places where you have a voice, you have advocacy. So one of the biggest concerns of destination, I always tell patients, is what if something goes wrong? Who are you going to go talk to in Guatemala? Like the Guatemalan Medical Authority? Like who? So here,
Sorry, all I heard was Ghostbusters.
yeah, who are you going to call exactly?
Because there's
Call
nobody.
Ghostbusters,
'Cause
but
there's nobody.
essentially they're going to be they're the only there's nobody.
Yeah, no, you're
So
right.
that's the
You're
second thing I
right.
tell people. So first thing is that if you're going to go somewhere, they better be better trained at what you're getting
Sure.
done than where you are. Secondly is if you go somewhere, you better have some recourse. Like there's got to be patient advocacy. So a lot of other countries, at the end of the day, the United States has the greatest patient advocacy system in the world. As good or bad as you think it is, at least at the end of the day, if you go to a hospital or a doctor and something goes wrong, you're not nothing.
No.
And so that's really important.
Yeah.
Third thing is, what if something goes wrong? And you went, like I have patients that call our office all the time. And they're like, hey, listen, I had a tummy tuck done in Mexico. Okay, great. And I'm a month out. Okay, wonderful. And I got problems. What problems? My wounds aren't healing. There's an infection. This doesn't look right. Now what?
Is this supposed to look like ceviche?
So now if everything goes great, you got away with it. But what if everything doesn't go great? Who are you going to go back to? You're going to get on a plane every 2 weeks and fly to Mexico?
No.
Do you think they're picking up your call? So now you're in trouble. Now you're scrambling to communicate with someone locally in the country to help you get out of that mess. And you well know that's going to be much more difficult than if he or she were your doctor to begin with. Super, super important. So I'm trying to tease out the difference between when it's a good idea and when it's not a good idea.
Well, I think in general, like you always talk about the Hermes bag, Dr. Raban, you always say more expensive isn't necessarily better, but cheap. You know how you're always telling me that?
Yeah, of course, because I do think it applies. And I think that in medicine, it really applies probably more than other places. Exactly what you were saying. Just because something's expensive doesn't mean it's excellent, but definitely if it's cheap, it's not great. Yeah. So what that means is if you're going to go get healthcare and you're like, wow, okay, I can go to, let's just say Beverly Hills. It doesn't matter. It could be LA. It could be wherever. I'm going to go to LA and get your rhinoplasty done, or I can go to whatever, Costa Rica, and I can get the surgery done in half, and I can have a 2-week convalescence, and they're going to massage me with, avocado spread. Let's see. Conventional wisdom says you're missing something's not there.
There's bad math.
Right? So I don't know where people get lost in that. I think it's wishful thinking that somehow you're not. Nothing is for free in life. They're not going to do your surgery high qualified in a great surgery center. So what you lose when you go away is you lose control of all the other aspects. So the one thing that I always hear,
control of the safeguards. There's no safeguards.
Correct. No. So you say
that was one of the points too.
You say, oh, I love my surgeon's excellent. The guy in Mexico is world renowned. Okay, let's argue that he is. What about the facility? I don't know. What about the anesthesia provider?
Yeah.
I don't know. What about the aftercare? What about the medications? What about the sutures? What about the electrical? What is their protocol for malignant hyperthermia? When
tequila.
You stay within, yeah, tequila is right for the doctor.
For the doctor.
No, but you have a system in place in the United States that is so outstanding that when you go abroad, you forfeit all of those protections. And so you have to really be careful. So I think destination within the U.S. is quite acceptable. You just need to be moving upwards, not downwards. But I think outside of the United States is really, I personally think it's ill-advised because you're in the best place on the planet as it comes to healthcare. And for you to get up and go anywhere else, I just think it's complete nonsense. Because even if you're Latina and you go to Mexico, it's like your hometown.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You're still going out of you're losing all of the benefits of being an American citizen in the United States.
Or I have girl questions.
Go ahead.
Okay. So, and I'm going to ask you to lean into your mic when you answer, okay. But here's my question. Number one, so you had the surgery. What happened? Did you stay in a hotel?
Time out. I think we need a break.
Okay.
We have to make sure. So that's the next segment.
Because I want to ask about like all the comfort girl responsibility mom
100% the thing now we have to talk about is, okay, Dr. Bun, I got it. Okay, I got it. Understood. I need to stay in the United States. I need to find a great place. Now what I would come back and to your question is we'll figure out what are the specifics. So I decided I want to leave wherever I am in the country and go to a top-notch city. When I go, how do I plan? How do I prepare? You have 2 kids. Who took care of them? How much was it? Blah, blah, blah. Why don't we do that when we come back?
Okay, so we're going to take a break from Plastic Surgery Uncensored. Please stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to continue with Destination Plastic Surgery, when it's a good idea, when it's not. We're back with Natalia, who came from Chicago, not once, but 2 times.
Yes.
Specifically for Dr. Raban.
Yes.
All right, Dr. Raban, you want to take it away?
Yeah, so the first segment was great. We talked about why it's important, if you're going to do destination, to pick a good destination. Now what we want to do is a lot of people ask us, okay, what is the process? So let's talk about first, what did you have to do as a mom of 2 children to prepare for coming here?
Okay, first of all, I had to research to stay in a place that was convenient for my kids, which will be close to the beach, like for this time right now. So we rented a house from Airbnb. We stayed at Redondo Beach, and it's close, and they can run to the beach. It's like 1.5 miles away. So that was the first thing, and I had to bring my mom to help me because it's a process. The surgery takes somebody to take care of me, and my brother helps cooking and everything. So
you brought your whole family?
I brought my whole family. My mom, my brother,
what
and
are
my
the things
kids.
that you're saying? So first thing you need to do is you got to stay somewhere. So people want to know, how long do I need to stay?
Yeah.
Most patients, depending on the surgery you had done, when you had your tummy tuck done, it was 2 weeks. Most patients stay on average between 1 to 2 weeks, but mostly 2 weeks. So don't expect to come in, get a surgery done in a destination, and then get up and leave 3 days later. That's not going to happen.
Okay.
So chalk off 2 weeks. Second thing is, okay, so now I'm going to stay there. You need to stay somewhere. You need to physically stay somewhere, and it can be expensive. So obviously, if it's destination, it's inconvenient and costly. But again, you're not getting a haircut or teeth cleaning. You're having a surgery that is one time forever and can go incredibly well or incredibly poorly. So you want to stay somewhere that's convenient. You can't stay 50 miles away so that every time you want to come and go, it's a major inconvenience. But you can stay in a hotel, Airbnb, as you did this time. Where did you stay the first time?
The first time I stayed in a hotel in Pasadena, and it wasn't really a good idea because it was a small room and I had a tummy tuck, and my husband came and he was working. Now the second time I learned that, I think mommy has to come to help.
That's a perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah.
So she
You learned
has
something.
So
Yeah,
that's
I
why we
learned,
wanted
yeah.
to have you here today, because
Yes.
not only did you do destination, but you've done it twice. And you've learned the benefits. So you want to stay somewhere that's comfortable. So comfort doesn't mean that it's expensive. People assume, oh my God, I'm coming to LA, it's got to be expensive. In LA, you have hotel after boutique hotel as long as it's clean, close, and sizable enough, it doesn't matter if it's the Beverly Wilshire or it's Motel 6. It's irrelevant. You want it to be close enough where it's not an inconvenience. You want to make sure that you have help. That's the number one most important thing. So you said the first time you came with your husband.
Yes.
And
Well,
God bless him.
yeah.
The second time you came with your mom, and
Yeah.
obviously your mom's a better caretaker
Yes,
than
I
your
think
husband.
So it's just different, moms are different. They take care of us and they really worry. And my husband was working a lot at the time, and I was a little alone, but it was okay. I learned the experience that moms are better.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I know, taking care of us.
So I've got a bunch of questions because I'm very curious about this. So you came in now for the nose.
Yes.
Did you do it on an outpatient? Do you go right back to your Airbnb? Tell me day of surgery. How did that go down?
The day of surgery, okay, so I had the house rented already. Everything was planned already. I planned this in March, and my surgery was August 5th. So I had everything done already. So I had the house.
Okay.
I used Uber.
You Ubered to your surgery?
Yes, I Ubered to my surgery.
Wow.
Exactly.
No, but she's telling you,
Yeah,
it's called
yeah.
being prepared.
I planned it. I'm super planned. I planned everything. So
Did you come alone? Your mother didn't come for the surgery?
my brother picked me up
Okay.
So
on
I'm-
an Uber again.
So I'm gonna answer your questions as you're asking them because they're perfect. So the first thing is, how soon do I have to come? You need to come at least the day before at the latest. I need to see you, I, the day before. You can't just show up the morning of. Because I
Okay.
need to see you. We need to re-examine you. Presumably we examined you before. I want to make sure nothing's changed. Okay. That's number one. You can come to your surgery with Uber because you're fine and you're healthy.
Yeah.
You must leave the surgery with a human being.
With someone.
We will not place you into an Uber and send you wherever because you just had an anesthetic.
Yes.
The ideal person is to bring whomever is going to care for you. That could be your best friend. That could be your sister. That could be your mom. That could be your husband. But you must have an individual that is not going to make you feel terrible that you need their help. You need to bring a caring person and they need to pick you up. If you have a small surgery or a short surgery, AKA her nose or her belly.
How long was her nose?
Her nose took 3 hours. Her belly took 4. If it's a single surgery, you can go back to your home or your hotel or your Airbnb.
Did you go back to the hotel right after the tummy tuck?
Yes.
Yes, and you can.
But she said it like it wasn't a good idea.
It's not that it wasn't a good idea. I think that I rather rented a house. Well, there's more space. There's more.
But what you're alluding to is,
Yeah.
if you have multiple surgeries, you do not have an option
Yeah.
to go back to your hotel. You must go to an aftercare.
Correct.
What's the difference? You go back to your hotel, you got your family taking care of you. We don't send you there unless we think you're safe.
Right.
Now,
and cared for.
You're going to be uncomfortable. It doesn't matter if you're in hotel or you're in hospital, you're uncomfortable. But when you have multiple surgeries, we don't think it's ideal or safe. We send you to a place, a recovery center where there are nursing staff and blah, blah, blah. Of course, it's additional cost. So it's at the judgment and discretion of your surgeon. We're very, we're conservative. So I don't send you home unless I think you're completely incapable of doing it. But you definitely need to go to an aftercare if you've had several hours or a lot of surgery.
Okay.
Continue your questions.
Okay. So you get back day of surgery, and you have your caretaker. Your children are handled. So what is your relationship with Dr. Raban at that point? Are you checking in? Do you come in the next day, 2 days? Like, do you just convalesce and then a week out you come in and get your cast off? Like, what is the process? What is your interaction with the doctor that you chose from far away to make sure that you're getting everything out of it before you have to leave his physical proximity? Because once you're on the plane, you're on the plane. So what's the process of making sure it's okay to get on the plane and go home?
Okay, so after 6 days or 7 days, that's my first appointment with him.
So just, I'm going to keep interjecting because it's two perspectives. We always talk to the patient the night of their surgery. We check on them, we make sure they're okay. So every doctor's going to have their own protocol. I'm very particular about the wounds. So people are under the assumption just generally that I need to open up my wounds in a day or two and start to clean them. When I put on your cast or your abdominal binder or your bra or your dressings, it's all done sterilely, right? I'm doing it in the operating room.
Right.
So I don't want you opening anything up to clean it because it's sterile and it can't get any cleaner than sterile. So when you open it up to clean it, you're getting your grimy little fingers all over it, and then you're getting bacteria all over the place. So I have a strict no open, no touch rule for 1 week.
No looky.
No looky, no nothing.
No touchy, no looky.
Peeking.
So I'm very particular about that because I don't want you messing with it. So I can't speak for other surgeons. And then we'll see you at 1 week, in which time we remove your cast or take your binder off, take your stitches out, take your drain out, do whatever you need to do.
Okay.
Right? Then we
That's what
keep you a second week, during which time now you're out of the woods, and we want to make sure you recover to the point that at the 2 week mark, you can get on an airplane and go back to Dubai, Chicago, Australia, wherever.
Did you decide that you wanted your nose after, or because it seems like they're pretty far apart, you're tall. Would you have considered doing them both at the same time, or you thought of nose afterwards because you were so happy with your stomach?
Exactly. That's what happened. I trusted him so much after the results of my tummy, and after that, I'm like, okay, I think I found the right doctor.
What did your nose used to look like? Because it's beautiful now.
Oh, I know. It wasn't terrible, right, Dr. Ramon?
No, I mean,
it was
her
just
nose-
a little
listen, she's a
bump.
beautiful young lady.
I broke my nose because I used to play tennis, and it was
just-
a little crooked.
It was crooked and had a small
Yeah.
bump. And oh, listen, at the end of the
Not
day,
too bad, but
she would have been fine either way. But it's unarguable. I think she's going to look cleaner, and her nose is going to be a touch more feminine. But I think the reality is, and what we're getting at, is that you can do destination surgery. You can do it incredibly safely, but you need to have a plan. And she's a perfect example of an individual who was very methodical about it. So if you do it like that, you have a plan. She even brought her kids. A lot of people don't bring their kids. That requires even more planning.
Yeah.
But because of it's summer, and she planned around it, and she's been doing great.
yeah.
I mean, she's 6 days out. She's awesome.
When you got home from the tummy tuck, you felt confident, even though you were very far from him, that you were far along in the process. You weren't worried.
Yes, I wasn't worried because I was quiet for those days and healing and, just sitting down and doing everything that he told me to do.
So the next thing about it is, okay, so you go home at 2 weeks. So destination, usually 2 weeks. Some doctors have you stay a week. I think that's a mistake. Again, to each their own. I insist you stay 2 weeks. Doesn't matter. Why? Because that's when I can really, really make sure you're okay. Because I think by the second week, 99% of the stuff is fine. We would then see you again, ideally at 6 to 12 weeks. So if you're going to do destination surgery, you need to be okay with it being inconvenient. Like, that's what happens when you go some other place to have surgery. So you can't just like bounce and see ya, because now you need to follow up. And while Skype is excellent, because sometimes we do our initial consult via Skype, right?
Yeah, tummy tuck. We
Right.
did.
So it's fine. You can meet each other, but I can't care for you via Skype.
No.
You need to fly back and let me look at your belly, how many times did you come back for me to see you for your belly?
I think twice.
Twice?
Yeah.
Do you know what that is? More expensive.
Yeah.
But obviously, if you went out of your way the first time because you felt like you were getting a better outcome, then you need to follow through. So it's very, very important that the listener understand that when you select to go out of your local area, it's a long journey that you have to participate in.
You can't be neglectful of the details. There's logistics. You
Right.
can't just, because people tend to focus on just day of. That's why I'm saying the process of you get here, then you get picked up, then you go there, then the anesthesia wears off, then the pain sets in, then you have to make sure you have a caretaker.
100%.
Yeah, all of these things you have to think through like every step.
And we help you if you're going to a doctor's office and they do a lot of destination surgery, then they should have a protocol, right?
Right.
She's not our first rodeo. And so if you're going somewhere and you live in Wisconsin and you're going to New York, when you talk to that doctor's office, they should have a very specific protocol in which, how do I get prepared for surgery? Do you do my labs from afar, et cetera? And I think the last element is really important.
Do you do their labs from afar?
We do
Like,
it-
does she have done labs in Chicago and you would know how
so
to?
what we do is we would meet you. Often destination surgeries, we meet you originally vis-a-vis Skype or FaceTime. And once we've confirmed that you're a good candidate and you like us, we would have to meet you in person. So that's why I see you before. There have been instances where, incredibly rare, but you show up and I'm like, oh, wow, your nose doesn't look like you said it would or whatever. That's happened once. So I have to have the discretion to not operate on you, right? And then the key element and last element I want to really touch on is what happens if there's a complication? What do we do? Like I'm in Australia. I'm not even in Chicago. I have people from places that it takes 3 plane rides to get there. So, it's really important to make sure that you have a plan in place. Now, luckily, we have had very few complications. And I think that has to do with being so compulsive early on so that you don't end up getting in that situation. But inevitably, there's going to be little things here and there, and you need to hope that your doctor and you have a really specific dialogue. You can call them, and you're not going to get an answering service. You can send photos. You can talk to the nurse. You can talk to the doctor. You and I talked many times, right?
Yes. You have an incredible staff too. The girls are amazing.
So the staff, when
Yes,
you do
it's very
destination,
important.
is crucial,
Very
right?
important,
Because
yeah.
now you're away, you're anxious,
Yes.
you're sending emails, you're calling, and no one is responding to you. So you need to make sure that the place isn't just going to be good for 2 weeks. And so Natalia had a very good relationship with our entire staff.
Yes.
And when she would call or have a question, and she went without a hitch. What if she had an issue that she's getting responded to? And I think those are the things that you need to check before you go to a destination, right?
Yes. The communication was amazing. Phone, email, everything that I needed, they were right there, on time, on point. Anything that I needed.
Well, if you weren't so lovely in every possible way, I wouldn't like you. Because I'm sitting here, brightly lit room, ring light, no hail damage at all, gorgeous figure. And but I'm looking at you. First of all, I can't believe your nose. The bruising is very minimal. For those of you who can't see her, perfect profile, like so gorgeous. And what was your number one takeaway of destination? If you had to say like, okay, this is exactly, if I had to sum it up, the one reason why I did this, what would you say?
Why I did my 2 plastic surgeries?
Away,
Here.
destination.
Away.
So if there's a mom somewhere
who's thinking-
sitting at home
Okay.
listening, and she's contemplating doing something, and she's deciding between staying local or going away, knowing that local probably isn't the best surgical option, but is afraid, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to, I took a risk and I did a lot of research and I found out, like, just by coming here and doing it. And you have to have the courage to get out of your comfort zone and I did the right thing and I am 100% happy and satisfied with everything that you did.
I'm going to put that in Monique speak. and here's what I think about this a lot when I think about Dr. Raban, and I think when people have trauma, have you ever heard on TV procedurals, they go, well, the best trauma center, we have to take Joe Blow, who just had a terrible car accident. He can't stay here in, Dayton. He's never we have to truck him to so. And so it's funny because we understand when it's trauma, when it's surgery, when it's, cancer, you go to Sloan Kettering.
Yeah.
And yet when it's plastic surgery, which is your face and it's for the rest of your life and it's a happy thing. You weren't in a car wreck. It's a happy thing. we don't think the same way. And I always wonder, why not? Like, why would you get a nose job in Dayton when you can get on a plane and get like a really good nose job? Not that there's not good nose jobs in Dayton, but you get my point.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great way
Like,
of
there's
thinking
no
about it.
shame in saying like the best trauma center is over there. Why not say the same thing about specifics in plastic surgery?
Yeah, I think to sum it all up, I think research, you're going to keep hearing that over and over and over and over again in the podcast every time. Just do homework. And if you do enough homework, and the second thing you said, which I think is really true, is you need to be a little courageous to get out of your comfort zone. So a lot of people throughout the country globally feel like, oh, Beverly Hills, it's for rich and famous. It's not for me. Or that I'm out of my comfort zone, or I'm from a small town. What am I going to do in LA? And the truth of the matter is that there is no such thing. Myself and other surgeons cater and take care of everyone from all walks of life. There's no, celebrity. That's all nonsensical sort of story that you tell yourself. The minute you show up, wherever you're from, you're as highly qualified to have surgery as anywhere else. So I do think that this idea that getting out of your comfort zone is a very, very good one from which I think we can end.
All right. Well, I'm going to say I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Plastic Surgery Uncensored. We so enjoyed having our guest Natalia, who was a destination plastic surgery, who did it safe and wonderfully with an Airbnb and your mom and your kids and by the beach. Yeah, it was a good one.
It was a good one.
Thanks again for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.